Hello everyone, and welcome to a special episode. I just recently hit a goal of mine with this channel to get my first 1,000 subscribers. In fact, I surpassed that. So I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do my first Q&A. And I've actually received a flood of questions through my Facebook page, specifically for this Q&A. So let's get to it. Let's roll right through it. How many milligrams of protein via protein powder do you use daily, Cory? 2-3 scoops maybe. It depends on the day, depends on my diet and what my needs are. In order of importance, protein, creatine, BCAAs. I'm doing my best to avoid animal products, and am I unknowingly consuming something in creatine or BCAAs? Kind of an if you can buy only one or two, which should you spend your money on? First, is your diet in check? You shouldn't be supplementing if your diet and training aren't in check, specifically your diet. Supplements should not replace your diet. They should enhance, they should supplement your diet. But that being said, if you have the money, I would say creatine first. In fact, there's even some research to show there's benefit to vegetarians and vegans specifically supplementing creatine. Cognitive benefits, that is. And then next we have protein powder, I suppose. And BCAAs, you don't really... I mean, you're going to get branched-chain amino acids from your protein in your diet, and most protein powders, like the one I use, which is a pea, rice, and soy blend, contain about 5 grams of branched-chain amino acids in a 2-to-1 with leucine, in favor of leucine, per scoop. So, there's that. How do your macros personally affect your mood, energy, and libido? Speaking for myself, I find that if I take my fat a little higher, 20, 30%, even higher if I'm doing a ketogenic diet, that the higher fat gives me more aggression. I find my strength increases. I find my sex drive really increases. I also find that higher protein, the upper end of the bodybuilding range, so about 1.36 grams per lean pound of body mass, for me, gives me a harder, fuller look. That's what I've experienced. I've tried the lower end and I've tried the upper end of the bodybuilding suggested range, and I just like how I look and feel and perform on the upper end. But that's just me. For ketogenic diets, when I've used ketogenic diets, and I've always done cyclic, during the keto days, I found that I wasn't tired. I just had a really nice calm. But don't mistake that for being tired. I just felt very chill. Very chill. But my workouts were beastly. So, yeah, training on a ketogenic diet, I could still work out like a beast. But, again, that's just me. What is your philosophy on bulking and cutting? I don't like it. I've done it before. I've done the whole bulk cycle, cut cycle. But with my body type, putting on fat so easily, even in the most modest of surpluses, I have often found that I just find myself having to go backtrack, taking off fat afterwards in the cutting cycle because I inevitably begin to end up gaining more fat than I do muscle over a period of time. So now my preference is to use intermittent fasting, actually a veganized version of lean gains, with a plus 20, negative 20 calorie intake range, depending on training or rest day, for a recomp when I want to build muscle. And yes, that's a lot slower, but I prefer to go slow than have to pay for it with excess fat gain. What do you eat for breakfast, and do you mass prep food ever? Currently, my breakfast is either, it depends on the day, and it's either a smoothie, a protein smoothie, or I use this product called, these veggie strips by Beyond Meat that are made of pea protein. I will have that with 250 grams of broccoli and a side cup of about 280 grams of mixed berries. So one of those two. And do I mass prep food ever? Not really, no. I often will either get up early and prepare the meals for the day if I have to be somewhere and bring them in a cooler of some sort, or if I'm going to be home for particular meals, I'll just make them at home and eat them as I go. What are some of the easiest, cheapest meals that are also filling and nutritious for the body? Well, that really depends on your personal tastes. One that you'll probably hear a lot of vegans suggest, and I can't disagree with, would be like beans and rice with maybe a side vegetable. Personally, I find for myself that I'm more satiated by higher fat, higher protein meals. As carbs, while they satiate me shorter term, don't seem to stretch into the longer term like a higher fat, higher protein meal does for me. So that's just me. Ectomorph here. Any suggestions on what should I eat in order to gain muscle faster? I train 3 times a week, compound exercises, yada yada. You're not, I mean, okay, you're going to gain muscle as fast as your body will naturally put muscle on, unless you're using steroids, and even then, the chemicals will only put on muscle so fast. Some drugs put on muscle faster than other drugs. So if you're a natural, I would just say make sure you're eating a surplus of calories, getting enough calories to grow, but monitor your body. If you're gaining too much fat, then cut back a bit. You are somebody with a fast metabolism, eat more. Eat calorically dense foods. Make sure you get your proteins. And lift progressive and lift heavy relative to you. And get plenty of rest. What's your opinion on fasted training for improved stubborn fat mobilization? I disagree with it. Recently, Alan Aragon and Brad Schoenfeld did a study. It was on cardio, but nonetheless, let's run with this. Where there was a fasted cardio group and there was a fed state cardio group, and the difference was not even, it was negligible. It was really pretty much the same results. So do what feels best for you. Personally, I train fasted or semi-fasted because I find that even with martial arts, when I train in a fed state, I feel nauseated. So I actually function better. I feel like I train better fasted or semi-fasted. So either after a night of sleep from training in the morning, or 3 to 5 hours after a previous meal, and the most I might do is dose some branched-chain amino acids or essential amino acids in powder form into some water, and that's the most I might give myself pre-training, aside from things like creatine and some coffee or something. How should men and women train differently? I don't think they should. Both human. How you train is going to depend on your goals, your body, and that sort of thing, like your weak points and all of that, not your gender. So train heavy for you, train progressively for you, and the volume and frequency your body can handle. What's my favorite leg routine? Well, it varies. I tend to kick off, the only thing that really doesn't change much is I tend to kick off leg day with some sort of a squat, either a front squat or back squat. And then I work accessory exercises. So an example might be squats, followed by hack squats, followed by leg curls. Maybe I do abductor and adductor machine, also known as the good girl, bad girl machine, or the yes-no machine. And then I might do some calf raises. I typically will do 2 or 3 different kinds of calf raise exercises, standing or seated, and sometimes donkey in there as well. What's the chest workout that's made your chest grow the most? Really, with chest, with a lot of things, I keep it simple. I train old school. I train with free weights. I base my workouts around free weight compound work. So for chest, I would say pick a pressing movement, pick some kind of an isolation like a fly, and then finish off with dips. That's typically what I do. 3 or 4 exercises for me is what I usually do. And for the 4th exercise, I might finish off with some cable flies, or I might do pullovers. One thing that I have focused on heavily during my time training chest would be I do a lot of upper chest work. I would say 75% of my workouts have some sort of an upper chest focus, be it low crossover, low pulley crossovers, or incline flies, or starting with an incline bench. Just to give you some example, because I always felt like I wanted to keep my chest balanced, and I felt like that really helped keep balance in my chest, for my body. How do you work out around an injury, like the back, to not lose muscle or gain fat? Well, you're not really giving me enough information. It's like a lower back injury, because if it's like a lower back injury, I could say like maybe stay away from deadlifts, stay away from bent over rows, where you're putting your lower back into a position of potential risk, and maybe stick with machine stuff where you can, prop yourself, rest yourself, take the stabilizers out, and just get a good squeeze on your lats. But again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what your injury is. So work with your body. But as for maintaining muscle, I would say, if you can't train back, or if you can't train all, at least eat maintenance calories to maintain your muscle and not really put on any kind of weight while you're trying to recover. How does a person know or decide if they are training enough or too much, and what are signs of overtraining? Well, you really got, this is very relative. I mean, I would say listen to your body. Do you feel like you're tanking out? For me, I find that 24 to 27 working sets per session is my sweet spot. If I go too much over that, I end up feeling myself tiring out and my workout suffers. So I know that I keep it in that range. It's a good workout for me. And again, that's working sets. Now, the symptoms of overtraining can vary, but typically you'll maybe feel depressed. You might feel a lack of appetite. You might feel incredibly tired all the time. Soreness that just won't ever go away. You know, there's even flu-like symptoms for some people. A lack of desire to train. These are some of the things that you can look for overtraining. And if you experience these, or if you begin to experience these, I would advise you take a week off, or even 2 weeks off, just a layoff to let your body recover, then get back to it. How can I determine if I am making decent progress apart from photos? On average, how quickly do people lose fat and gain muscle or increase weight or reps? It's all relative to the person. I really can't answer this with any kind of finite answer. I personally like progress photos, as anyone who's on my Facebook page would know, because I can look at a photo from like a week ago versus one now and see little minute changes that I might have missed otherwise that I definitely wouldn't see in the mirror because I see myself every day. That's one thing, and also how your clothes fit you. Remember, this is a visual sport. If you're into bodybuilding and physique, it's a visual sport. So how do you look is much more important, really, than what the scale is going to say. And the scale will fluctuate up and down, even with water, etc., etc. You know, so those are some ways you can do it on the cheap and on the fly, or you can get your body fat percentage tested. As for, on average, about, like I said, gaining muscle and increasing weight and rep is really... It's really relative. You should challenge yourself to try to either get more reps or use a higher weight each week without hurting yourself. But it's, you know, how fast you're going to grow. There's so many genetic factors, and it's real personal. As for losing fat, I would never suggest anyone drop more than 1 to 2 pounds a week, max. How do you design your training programs, especially how often do you change it up, and how do you arrange the order of exercises most optimally? I base my training programs on my needs, and you should do the same thing. I don't go with cookie-cutter routines. I don't borrow from famous routines. I don't pull out of magazines, for instance. I will build my own routine based on where I feel like I need to bring certain things up or I need to focus on certain things. I tend to run one given routine for 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'll change it to something else. Typically, my workouts will begin with a big compound movement, like a bench, deadlift, bent over row, squat, overhead press, something like that. But on occasion, I might start with an isolation movement, like maybe leg extensions or leg curls before a squat to pre-exhaust the quads or the hamstrings before I go to squatting. How would you recommend a hardcore vegan male who is 50 years old that strength trains 3 to 4 days per week lose belly fat? Is it more strength training or diet or intermittent fasting? Now, intermittent fasting is very specific. Now, that's just a tool you can use. It's a form of dieting. But it's not an end-all, be-all. It's not a requirement, certainly. And some people may like it. I personally do. Some people may not find that they like it very much at all. Maybe they can't handle the fasting periods. That being said, losing belly fat, losing fat in general is a matter of your diet first and foremost. Get your diet in check. Your training can bring you into a deficit and can help with it. Obviously, it can burn calories, but your diet needs to be in check. It's also a matter of time and consistency, just keeping at it, keeping with it. You know, we just have trouble spots, you know. And for guys, yeah, the lower abdomen, the lower back, those are trouble regions for a lot of guys. It's going to be probably the last to go. But it will go as you drop the body fat down. Now, that's also barring any kind of hormonal things here. So without getting into that, you know, how are your hormone levels? You know, larger fat mass in the abdomen region can lead to raised estrogen levels, and vice versa. Higher estrogen can lead to more stores of fat. So it's you know, hormones do play a big role too, and so do genetics. So, do you feel there are any vegan YouTubers on roids or such drugs? I don't know about YouTubers, but I have my suspicions about some vegan competitors, especially if someone claims, like, you know, practically Arnold stage weight at, you know, stage-ready conditioning. that does raise some red flags, but I can't confirm or deny. However, there is one vegan I know who has competed in men's physique, as far as I'm aware, or he was prepping for a contest at one time. I haven't spoken to him for a while. I'm not going to name names because he talked to me in confidence and admitted the cycles that he was using to get into condition. And he was talking to me because he wanted some nutritional advice. But yes, there are vegans that use, and there are vegans I speculate that are using, but I can't confirm it. What is your opinion about fitness models, bodybuilding competitors? Do you reckon they promote eating disorders? This is actually a topic that I want to cover in more detail at another time. But my answer for right now is a general yes and no. It's a mixed answer. And there's a lot of factors that I can discuss about this, but again, I will go into this in more detail. It deserves, actually, an episode given to it because it's such a detail-oriented topic. I can't summarize it in a Q&A. When will you grow that beard? Buddy, I'll grow a beard whenever the fuck I want to grow a beard, because being Viking is in the blood, in the heart, and in the spirit. It ain't in the fucking beard. You always hit me with that one. Do you prefer long walks on the beach or hot air balloon rides for a first date? I'll go with neither on that one and just leave it at that. Anyway, that was all for the Q&A. I will likely maybe do these once a month, or perhaps I'll do it every 1,000 subscribers that I get. So maybe when I hit 2,000, we can do another one. If you haven't already, please like my Facebook page. It'll be linked down in the description, so you can keep up to date on things and even suggest video topics and get in on this in the Q&A threads when I put them up. I'll see you guys for another episode, so stay tuned. Until then, stay fit, stay formidable, and stay fantastic. See you around.